Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment and the boxing capital of the world. Well, again, working my co-host, beautiful Shelly Stevens. And I'm Joe Cortez here to talk to you a little bit about this past weekend, the induction at the Hall of Fame, where Shelly and her husband went up to Atlantic City to see me get inducted for the 6th time, man.
That was so unbelievable. It was awesome.
It was nice. And somebody gave me this glove. They painted my face on the glove, which I really admire. That's really nice of them.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. But it was a really good weekend. And, being in Atlantic City, because it brings back a lot of great memories. I remember when I first went there in my first world title fight. I refereed a couple of years there before I got my title fight. I turned pro 77 in New York. Then in 1982 in Atlantic City, New Jersey, I was already doing shows for several years. But then when Bob Lee called me, he was deputy commissioner, he called me and said, Joe, you're going to be doing your first world title fight. I said, really? Wow. That was my dream, to do one world title fight. And it was Aaron Pryor, Miguel Montilla, and it was a great fight. But let me tell you a story that happened that night. Before getting into the ring, I remember I was all excited about getting into the ring. As I ready to step up, like 2 minutes before the fight, I walk into the ring, and security stopped me as I'm walking up to the ring. Said, Mr. Cortez, I got a message. I'll send you a message. You got a call from your wife, Sylvia, and you have emergency at home where your daughter is hospitalized, and she's in the emergency room. They want you to. I said, what happened? He said, I don't know. He said, you got to call them, and they'll tell you what happened. But meanwhile, I'm thinking about my big dream, my dream come true. I'm going to do a championship fight. I got to go into the ring. Now they give me this bad news like this. It was really amazing, to hear something like that.
Yeah.
It goes to show that, sometimes when you're a referee, you got to be focused. Talking about being focused, I had to be focused. I climbed into the ring knowing that there's something bad happening at home with my family. And I said, well, I got to do let me take care of this fight when it's over. And the fight lasted 11 rounds. I stopped it in the 11th round with Aaron Pryor retaining his title. But it was a night I'll never forget. It was such a scary night in the sense, happy but scary. I mean, at the same time, it was unbelievable. But anyway, I made it through, and that was it. And then this past weekend, getting inducted into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
International is the other one I got inducted 2 years ago, in 2011, and where I got my ring. That was back in 2011, International Hall of Fame. But this one Saturday was very special because where I did my first world title fight. Mm-hmm. And I retired 13 years ago. 2012, I retired with 176 world championship fights under my belt. So I was like, wow,
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. But it was a great weekend, seeing so many great fighters there. Seeing you and your husband come up there, our friends, Haros and Natalia, and the 2 children, Franco and Manu from Miami came up. Our friends from New York, Ray Avila and his brother Tito. There's so many friends, and I saw Roberto Duran was there. We spent a good time together.
Oh, yeah. I think we might have a picture with you and Roberto, I think, right? Yeah. Oh, my God. That week, it was
Roberto
just
Duran,
so fantastic.
Yeah, Handsome Stone. He was a great champion. He was lightweight champion, welterweight champion. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the other...
Oh, is that Michael Speaks?
No.
Who's that?
I don't know. Can't tell a fan from him. But that's another one of the fans that was there at the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And but I've seen Roberto Duran, Ray Mercer, Vinny Pazienza. They goes, hey, this is your husband there?
Uh-huh.
And the former middleweight champion, Iran Barkley. Iran Barkley is the one that fought Roberto Duran in 1989 in Atlantic City. I refereed that fight. It was one of the best fights I ever refereed. I think it was my 39th professional title fight.
Yeah.
Iran Barkley.
Wow.
He was champion of the world at that time. He had just knocked out Tommy Hearns. And here's Roberto Duran and myself there. Mm-hmm. Roberto Duran still looks sharp, very sharp. I mean, he remembers everything from back in the days. He still remember the days that we did the fights and whatnot. It was just nice.
There's Michael Spinks again.
There's you, Michael.
You know what was great about that too is Michael Spinks. I think he's from Philly originally because Wesley and I used to perform in Philly.
Right.
And he used to be like a regular at one of the places where we performed. So we hadn't seen him in years, you know. So he was great. He remembered us, and there you go with Wesley again and Sylvia, beautiful wife. We had so much fun. Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a weekend that was.
It was a weekend. It was a weekend, my 60th anniversary too, as well. And it was Sylvia's birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are happening. And he had a lot of young folks that want to take pictures with me at the Hall of Fame.
I know everybody knows and loves you, even the kids.
Well, that's my specialty, dealing with these young kids, help them out.
That
get
was
them
you
right.
walking out on stage to accept your award.
Yeah, that's what I was making
goodness.
my acceptance speech.
Yeah. I think we might have a copy of your speech there, too. I'm not sure. But your speech was very inspirational to everybody because you talked about your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter Sandy.
But before I started refereeing, I was a fighter. I won the Golden Gloves championships on numerous occasions, 6 to be exact. And I had 43-2 as an amateur fighter. And then I turned pro when I was 18 years of age. And then when I lost my first fight, my fifth fight, it was my first loss. I got upset and I joined the U.S. Army. I was so upset. But I couldn't fight in the Army because I was already a pro. But I was only 18 years of age. But when I came out, I ended up continuing my career as a professional. And it was a good run. I had a good time. I was only a bantamweight, 118-pounder. But you see on Wikipedia or a lot of stuff on social media that said Mike Tyson knocked out Joe Cortez. I said I was never heavyweight. When I retired from boxing, Michael wasn't even born yet. That's another Joe Cortez, a heavyweight. He got knocked out like in 10 seconds in the first round with Tyson in the amateurs. But anyway, I want to say that for me, boxing was great. I mean, I became a referee in 1977. I turned pro. I started with the Police Athletic League first, and then after I retired from the amateurs, the New York State Athletic Commission, there was a Deputy Commissioner, Frank Morris, who saw me refereeing the Golden Gloves. They called me to the office. I said, what are they calling me for? I'm an amateur referee. He said, Joe, we were watching you last week doing the championship fight at Madison Square Garden, and one of the fighters happened to be Juan Laporte, a featherweight, when he won the featherweight championship in the Golden Gloves. And that was in 1977. And so Frank Morris, Deputy Commissioner, New York State Athletic Commission, said, Joe, we want to turn you pro. I said, I've only been doing this 6 months. I'm only 6 months in the amateurs. He said, Joe, no, we can use you in the pros right now. You're ready to go pro. I said, am I going to get any work? He said, Joe, we'll give you all the 4-rounders and 6-rounders, and then we'll take it from there. And I was lucky enough to do several fights as a professional. They can be very busy. And then in 1982, I got a call from the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. Bob Lee said, Joe, we got you doing your first championship fight. Aaron Pryor and Miguel Montilla, right here in Atlantic City. Well, I remember that night, that was very special, because my dream was to do one world title fight. I would have been satisfied with only one. But that night, about 2 minutes going into the ring to do my championship fight, as I'm ready to go into the ring, security stops me and said, Mr. Cortez, you got an emergency call from your wife that your daughter's an emergency accident happens in emergency. I'm ready to go right into the ring to do my first championship fight. And with that in my mind, I thought, oh my God, I got to take care of this fight, but how about my daughter? But anyway, I did the fight. I stopped the fight, I believe it was in the 11th round. Aaron Pryor winning by a technical knockout. And then when I got out of the ring, can you imagine me in a corner between rounds? I said to myself, my daughter, but I got to get this fight. So I had to focus in the fight. At the same time, my heart told me my daughter's first. But anyway, I did my job that night. Then as soon as I got out of the ring, I called my wife. And she said, yeah, we're okay now. We're in the hospital. Your daughter, Christine, got bitten by your German Shepherd. You bit her in the neck. Anyway, thank God it was only that. She was okay. But, I've had ups and downs in my career. First of all, I want to thank Ray McLean for inviting the beautiful family. We're all a big family. The fight family is just the best in the world. And you know, I got Larry Hazard, the commissioner here. Larry, my brother. We started out together the same year in 77, 78. And then Larry Hazard and I used to talk on the phone 3 or 4 times a day, talking about creating different techniques and how to referee a good fight. And you know, Larry and I, we created all different seminars. And we started the first seminar given in 1979. Larry Hazard and I did that with Dr. Mike Xavier. And it was a great evening of us giving the seminar. But let me tell you that it was a good thing. We revolutionized refereeing. The way the referees do today, Larry Hazard can tell you that we referee with proper techniques, the way you move around the ring, good ring mechanics, knowing when to call in the doctor, when to give a warning to a fighter, when to take points, or when to disqualify a fighter. But the most important thing was when to stop a fight. We don't want to see fighters take unnecessary punishment. And that was my main goal in boxing. And I can tell you that my battles have been ups and downs. I mean, my daughter, during my career as a referee, that night I refereed Julio Cesar Chavez against Oscar De La Hoya. I was working with some ophthalmologists in Chicago, so I had to fly back to Chicago. A week later, I got a call from my doctor telling me, Joe, Mr. Cortez, your wife and your daughter were in a serious car accident, and they're both paralyzed. And I said, wow. You know, now I'm in Chicago. That's a week after I did that big fight. So I had to fly back to California to see what's happening at the hospital with my wife and my daughter. When I get there with my two other daughters, Sandy and Christine, we get there, and I went to the room, and I said, where's my daughter, where's my wife? They said, no, your wife is not here. I said, what happened to her? She alive? They said, yes, she's at the hotel, she's okay. It wasn't that bad with her. Your daughter's the one that got seriously injured. So my daughter ended up a quadriplegic, you know? But she was paralyzed from the neck down. And, you know, my daughter, to me, I don't know, most of you know that I got hit with COVID in 2020 real bad. And at the same time, when I got hit with COVID, I was in the hospital. I was hospitalized for 5 months, no visitors. But you know, my inspiration was my wife, Sylvia, who was going through stage 4 cancer. Sylvia, sitting right over here. Stand up, Sylvia. She inspired me. When I was in the hospital, I would talk on FaceTime on my phone, and I would talk to my daughter Cindy and to Sylvia. You know, they're really true champions. They never complain. And I think to myself, I'm in the hospital with COVID. They inspired me to come out of there and not take the full count. I made it out, and thank God, everything was okay. My wife recovered. She recovered from COVID, from stage 4 cancer. And my daughter Cindy, she's been driving a car 5 years after she had the accident. She's paralyzed from here down. She can drive a car better than me. So, you know, so it's been a tough battle for me. And during all that time, I was refereeing fights. They were calling me all over the world to referee fights. And I tell you, you know, it was tougher trying to be focused 100%, thinking about these fighters. I don't know, fighters taking unnecessary punishment. I mean, I refereed Mike Tyson on 8 different occasions, okay? And I refereed here in Vegas, I refereed Roberto Duran, and I ran Barkley someplace around here. That was one of the greatest fights in 1989 here in Atlantic City, and it was 3 feet of snow that day. That was one of the greatest fights I've refereed here in Las Vegas. I mean, here in Atlantic City. What I can tell you guys is thank you so much for attending tonight. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm fun. Thank you much.
Wow.
That was so beautiful. Oh my God, I remember I shot that video and I went up to the stage and there were all these people with these big like TV cameras and stuff from TV stations and radio stations, and I just squeezed right on up in there with my little iPhone and I'm just like taking a video and they were looking at me like, what's this? And I'm like the Joe Cortez Show. I'm his co-host and his personal assistant, so don't say anything. Let me just shoot my video. So they were very accommodating. Shout out to them.
Well, you know, it's very, very special, you know, having you and your husband there that night was very special. And then you went wait to see your grandchildren. You have 3 grandchildren you haven't seen for a while. You saw them?
Yes. Oh my God. It was like such a great trip. So many great things happened to us just all because of you. And like we are so indebted to you for like our whole life because you helped us in so many ways. And just to be able to go with you to Atlantic City, it was so special to me. And my grandkids, shout out to them. You know, I'm sure I'm going to send them a link to this video. And I can't even start talking about it. I'll get emotional. And also because of you, me and Wesley got a job. We were visiting with his cousins who live in Jersey. We were taking pictures and everything. All of a sudden, I get like a text from an old friend of ours who had booked us in Jersey before at his house for a private party. And he called and he says, you know what? He goes, that restaurant you were at, you could see my house from across the water. He goes, can you guys come back up? I know the owner of that restaurant you were at. I can get you a job. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's do it this summer. So there you go. See, you did it again.
It's amazing. The thing is, you know, we like to share our experiences, what's been going on in our lives. You and myself, your husband, Wesley, my family, Sylvia, Cindy, Sandy, Christine, and my grandchildren. I mean, I'm so proud of all of them. You know, they all come a long ways. We have ups and downs in life, but we're all fighters, and we refuse to take the full count.
There you go.
You know?
I believe
and
that.
I think it's that in life, sometimes we have to accept certain things that happen to us in life, but we have to also be strong and have faith in God that things are going to be better. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's just a matter of things you got to deal with certain situations. That's why I love people out there. You know, there's so many individuals out there that try to be something that they're really not. I want to be me. I want to be the person that I care. I love people. I mean, I really sincerely do. All those kids, they saw the picture. All those kids that came up to me, taking pictures with me. That was a precious moment at the induction because, you know, you got all these kids come up there. They say, Mr. Cortez, we're doing a program up there, and we're staying active with things, and we like to be like you when we grow up. I said, you know, that was so nice to hear that from these kids, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to start my cadet program eventually, hopefully by the end of the year. I hope to start a cadet program. I remember when I was a young kid, I was involved with the St. Martin Nautical Cadets. It was a Navy program. It was about 9, 10, 11 years old. And I was doing that and marching, and we were marching in the parade. My brother, Michael, Richie, myself, we were marching in the parade on Fifth Avenue. And it kept us in. Every week we would go to the armory to do the marching and learn how to use the rifles. We split the rifles around, get down. And a lot of good stuff we did with the cadets. And I want to bring that program back to life here in Las Vegas and around the country to get these kids. There's too many shootings going out there around the country. Too many kids that are being killed. And there's no need for that. We got to get these kids active in different programs, in sports, you know, music, like you. And you got to get it with entertainment, any kind, and keep the kids off the street, keep them active, because there's too much killing. I cannot accept what's going on in the world today, all over the country, you know, and all over the world. Too much drugs, gangs, guns. There's too much. Say no to guns and say no to drugs. We got to get them going. I got a friend, Kevin Oliver from Texas, and his girlfriend, fiance, Juanita Cap, who's also involved with a program in MMA mastermind program they have in Texas, and I'm going to be there to receive some awards for some individuals that are no longer with us, and we hope to get Leon Spinks inducted there. And there's a young referee coming up, an amateur referee, but it's a female referee, and I think that she deserves to be receive an award. I was talking. They called me yesterday. Tell me, did you know about that young lady that you're training as a referee? You know, she's doing a lot. They checked up her record. She's doing a lot in the amateurs, and she's looking to go pro in the near future. So I'm helping her out. So hopefully we can go out there, get her to come out also in December and help us give a seminar. We're going to teach seminar. So they said she's going to maybe go with her son. I don't know, but we're going to hope that this can happen. So to get these kids off the street, get the kids involved with more programs. We need more help out there with the kids.
Absolutely. Anything you want to be involved with kids, you call me. I love children, and I'm thinking one day, you know, I would love to be able to, like, if I ever stop performing, I would love to, like, teach kids music, you know, and how to sing. And I used to sing to my daughter and my grandkids all the time, you know, special songs and things like that. I would love to get back into that.
Yeah, for sure. You know, helping people out there is the best thing in the world. Main thing is keeping these kids off the street, give them some guidance, guide them in the right direction. You know, I had Gaspar Ortega, who was a former welterweight contender. He fought Emma Griffith for the title back in 1961. But Gaspar Ortega moved to my neighborhood. He was from Tijuana, Mexico. Moved to my neighborhood, and same block, and same next building. And that's how I got involved with boxing with my brother Mike, and that's when we became Golden Glove champions. But Gaspar Ortega was the one that got us on the right track, and I want to pay it forward. Do the same that he did to me. I want to pay it forward for the kids out there today.
Yeah.
Keep them on the right track. Keep them out of gangs, out of drugs, no guns. You know, and keep them going in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about now. You guys still performing at Lowe's every Saturday. You didn't perform that Saturday because you were in Atlantic City with us with your husband.
Yeah.
But you guys performing Saturday night.
Yes, we'll be back this Saturday night, but unfortunately you won't be there because you have another obligation.
My granddaughter, she goes to San Diego State, and we promised her this weekend we're going to spend the weekend with her. You know.
Nice.
And so you know, her mother's birthday was yesterday, and so we're going to spend with the father, the mother, the brother, the other sister. So
beautiful.
Bryce and Ayana and Maya, they're all going to be together. So we're going to go out there for the weekend, have a nice weekend with my granddaughter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Give them all I love. You know how much we love your family.
My grandson Bryce graduated from Purdue University, and now he's thinking about what he's going to do next. And you know, with football, or is he going to go into a private his private life? And I told him, Bryce, that diploma you got from Purdue University, not going to get you. That's your ticket to a good life.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
the diploma. Not everybody graduates from Purdue University. You did it so far. We're very proud of you, and you're an inspiration for a lot of kids out there too.
Yeah, you're such an inspiration to so many people. And the story you told about in your speech, you know, about your wife and daughter being in an accident, I can relate to that because when you're, you know, in a position such as you as referee or Wesley and I as entertainers, we were performing one night years ago in Philadelphia when someone called us and, you know, on a break and said, you know, that his mother, my husband's mother, was in a fire in Philadelphia. You know, and she had passed away, and it's like a nightmare to us. But like you said, the show has to go on, and after that, of course, you know, we went to take care of things. But it's very hard being in our business, you know, when you have something else going on, and you have to keep your mind focused on what you're doing.
So she was involved in a fire?
Yeah. Someone set fire.
You know, you mentioned that, and I remember you mentioning that. I remember one day I was driving home, I was working, and I was going on my way home driving, and I see smoke coming out of a window of this apartment building in the Bronx. And I used to live at 182nd and Southern Boulevard. I was getting close to home when I see this building, this smoke come out of a window, and I stopped, and I came out my car, and I ran up the stairs, and I started banging on the third floor window, all those doors. There were four apartments on the third floor. I was banging, nobody was opening up. I came back downstairs, and I looked, there's a fire escape in the front. They have a ladder that hangs down, and I jumped up, and I got onto the ladder, and I climbed up the ladder. I came up to the third floor. When I went up to the third floor there, I pulled the windows down, and I jumped in the apartment. A lot of smoke in there. And I said, well, I could hardly see. And I kept walking through there. I jumped right to the living room. And the kitchen right to the left, and the kitchen was on fire. And so I ran the other way to there's a bedroom on the end. They were like railroad apartment. There was a bedroom was the last one. I went, the door was locked. I opened the door. There was an old lady laying in bed, you know? And I said, man, there's a fire. And she was an old lady, it'd be maybe 85 years old, maybe 80, 85. And I put a towel over her head and over my head, and I took her through the apartment, went out the door, went downstairs. And then I have the fire trucks coming, and everybody's in front of the building watching all this fire going on. And it was she left something cooking on the stove, and it caught the stove in the kitchen on fire. But I got her out of there. When I heard the fire trucks coming, then I heard all that. Oh, wow, okay. She's okay. I left her with the people there, and I got back in my car, and I left, and I went home. When I got home, Sylvia said, man, you smell like fire. What happened? I said, well, there was a fire, and I told her what happened. She said, oh, my God, that's something. You could have got killed yourself. I said, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about saving somebody. Anyway, when you mentioned me, when you mentioned about your mother-in-law, I thought about that story.
You have so many stories. I'm serious. Somebody should actually contact this man to get him started on writing interesting, his life story.
You know, it just, like I said, I think it's about helping people out there, you know, getting the people on the right track. A lot of people out there, you know, you got to have a good heart. You got to feel, you got to reach out to people that need you. There's a lot of young kids that need help, a lot of old folks that need help. You individuals out there, you got family members or you have friends or neighbors, they're old, they need a little help. Go ahead and knock on the door, see if they want something. You know, help them out. You know, don't let them stranded. Let them just be stranded out there. A lot of folks, young and old, need help. Yeah, and that's where we come in. The good people with the good heart.
Oh yeah. Oh, before we go, I have to give a special shout out to Wesley's cousins, Cheryl and John. Oh my God, we love them so much. They're like, you know, so sweet, so special. And we stayed with them while we were in New Jersey. And and they're the ones that took us out to the restaurant. And we just had so much fun with them. It was such a pleasure to see them after a while, you know. And also shout out to Christina, my daughter, and her beautiful 3 boys, yes, and they were just like jumping on us the whole time we were there. You know, the baby, he's like all up in my face. We took a picture with him, like Wesley was sitting here, I was sitting there, and he's like, no, this is my mama. And he's like pushing Wesley away, like, no, I'm with her. We just had so much fun, so much love. It was beautiful.
It's so important to be having a family, be together with your family. You know, there's families that don't get together. Their families because of religion or with politics, they separate. You know, I don't go for that.
No.
I think family, God is first, but their family should be right there.
Absolutely.
You know, have your family together, spend time with them, teach them the love and affection, so they get to know who you are. Like your grandchildren want to be close to you because they know the grandma is number one.
Yeah.
You know, for them. You know, we know we would have laughed. We would have loved them so much. We would have had them first. The grandchildren.
Right.
They're just so beautiful. I'm very, very happy to be with my grandchildren. Like last night, Isabella, we call her Izzy.
So
she's a year and a half. She's gonna be 2 years old now in January.
Wow.
And then we have my other 4 grandchildren: Ricky, Bryce, Ayana, and Maya. You know, and it's so nice to have them all around. When they're around, when they hug you, they kiss you.
I know.
You really feel that love from them. You know? It's so important to share that love and understanding and caring ways with your children and with your grandchildren, and your great grandchildren. I'm already great grandchildren already. It's so nice. But I tell you, it's so nice, you know, when we get together. And we got together in Atlantic City with all our friends that were up there. You were there. You saw some of our friends. I know Roberto Duran, you know, Hands of Stone. He was so sharp and so nice, so accommodating to everybody. He's taking pictures, autographs for everybody. Iran Boxer was there too. He's going through cancer treatment right now. He's doing okay. He looked pretty good. I was surprised how good he looked. And so many individuals there. Ray Mercer looked good. Sean O'Grady.
Oh yeah.
He was there, former lightweight champion. Charles Murray.
Yeah.
Another champion. There were so many champions were there. It was just a great time. Pinkley Thomas, he looked great. Pinkley Thomas and we hit it off good at the Florida Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. He's a good guy, really loving, caring guy. So many, Danny Little Red Lopez. He was one of the greatest featherweights of all time. He was there that day, and I got to see him. And he was a knockout artist, but he fought Salvador Sanchez, and Salvador Sanchez beat him by decision or stopped him. And Salvador Sanchez was a great fighter as well. Salvador Sanchez unfortunately died in a car accident a month after he beat Wilfredo Gomez from Puerto Rico. Wilfredo Gomez was a bantamweight champion, 118 pounder. He was knocking everybody out. When he fought Salvador Sanchez knocked him out. And a month later, they given him as a gift. I think Don King gave him a car as a gift, a sports car. He ended up dying in that sports car in a crash that he had in Mexico. A month after he fought Wilfredo Gomez. So there were some fighters, good memories, good people out there. It's always good to see all these great champions.
Oh yeah,
I was there. Hello to the president. Ray McLean. Ray McLean thank you so much for the opportunity of inducting me into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. All the other inductees as well. We're very grateful at what you're doing for the Atlantic City Hall of Fame. I'm glad it's about time that somebody put the Hall of Fame together in Atlantic City. We had the New Jersey Hall of Fame, but Atlantic City, it's a very special one because, that's like I said, that's where I did my first world title fight. With that said, guys, Keep your guards up at all times. Shelly, last words to your fans.
Okay, well, we'll see you Saturday night at Lola's, and then the following Saturday we're going to have a big celebration party because Joe will be back in town. All right.
Keep your guards up at all times. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up. It's the undisputed champ, Shelly Stevens. Take care. God bless. See you next week.